Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome to Reader Rambles, a weekly podcast where I ramble about bookish topics and help readers navigate life. It's the first episode, baby! I'm so excited, and it is January 1st, 2022, and this episode's going out tomorrow. I've already had some technical issues, more so that I thought I was recording a first episode and then I didn't really like how it turned out because I was like, this isn't actually an episode, it's more of a trailer. So the introduction you've already seen is an introduction and it was my first episode. And I'm just trying here. This is my first ever podcast. I am very excited, so let's get into it. Today, I am going to be talking about reading goals and shelf reduction, which is going to be really fun. Usually, I would start the episode talking about my current read, but I don't have one. I have not started a book because I ended up hitting 100 books for 2021. That was my reading goal, and I guess we're kind of just getting into the topic. I can't really say how things have been because this is the first episode and it's the first day of the month. So today so far has been pretty good. I hit my goal of 100 books for 2021. I've always wanted to just see if I could ever do it, and I did it. I read a lot of picture books and short books. I believe that my total pages was like 18,000 something. I'll have it up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Anyway, I'm excited to talk about my goals because, like I already said, or actually, if you're listening to this on Sunday on Patreon, if you become a patron, you're going to get every podcast episode on Sundays. I talk about my goals in my recent YouTube video. It's coming out on Monday. And if you want to follow me on my YouTube channel, it's Pucks and Paperbacks. It's always linked in the description of the Reader Rambles YouTube channel, but I'll also have it in the show notes. But I say that my reading goals are non-existent because technically they are. I am not doing a reading goal, and that's more so because I want to have a better relationship with reading. I feel like I just read, and then I don't really remember, and that has actually not helped me a lot. It's been horrible because I, one, have really bad reading comprehension. I have all my life. I could do a whole episode about that. If you want it, maybe I will put that as one of the topics you can vote on. But I just don't have good reading comprehension, so I tend to miss details because I don't know. I'm not going to go into how I read. That's for another episode, but basically, I tend to miss certain details, and that kicks me in the ass sometimes because then people are like, I think you read it wrong. And I'm like, oh, maybe I did. I don't know. So essentially, I want to have a better relationship with reading. So instead of a number goal, I am going to focus on trying to do more challenges. I love challenges. On my YouTube channel, I do a lot of bookish challenges that I just make up, or I turn YouTube trends bookish. Like, my most popular video is when I had books control what I eat for 24 hours. So I do some things like that. And since I love challenges, I'm just going to focus on doing more challenges, and I want to do shelf reduction. And if you don't know what that is, it is basically just getting your physical TBR down to a lower number. I was watching a video from my friend Chloe at Brunette Bibliophile, and she was talking about how she got her TBR number down to like 35 or something like that. So I immediately DM'd her and I was like, oh my god, how did you do that? And she basically told me, she sent me some videos. I know a few booktubers do shelf reduction, including Emma from Drinking by My Shelf. She has a whole series called Balancing the Books, where she tries to just balance out her number and get her physical TBR down to a smaller number or just down to 0. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm on my floor because there are books behind me. The other day, when I asked my friend Chloe how she got her TBR down to such a low number, I spent the whole day So if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a photo of just all of my books on my floor. So I put all of my books on my floor into piles, and I just got a notebook. I wrote down the numbers as I went and then crossed them off until I got 107 books in total. And these were just the physical books that I own, not including ARCs or ebooks that I have. So the number could be larger than that. I do have a Notion spread of all of the books that I own, so that could be a different number, and so I'm just gonna go off of 107. So I told Chloe what my number was, and she told me that I should half it, and then it won't be as daunting because, listen, I already did 100 books. I'm not doing that again. I'm done. It was tiring, and I feel like I got a little burned out from reading, and I just don't want to do it again. I want to do more quality over quantity instead of like the quantity. I don't want to just be focused on quantity. So I am going to attempt 45. Nope, that's not the number at all. I am going to attempt 54 books, even though I said I'm not doing a number goal, because I'm not. My physical TBR is 54 books, and so I would like to read 54 books off of my physical TBR, and I don't think that that is too hard to do. If I could get it down to like a lower number in maybe 4 years, I would be happy with that. And I think that's going to be an attainable goal. But what's going to happen is I'm going to end up accumulating books. I work in book publishing, and my boss sends me the books that I'm working on to pitch, and so I end up accumulating a lot of books. But those will be books that I've read. So I also have a lot of pre-orders that I'm going to be doing this year because there's a lot of debuts coming out that I want. In the last 4 years, I haven't been a big book buyer. At the start of BookTube, I started in 2014, and I had the book buying syndrome where I would see a book and I would buy it. And then a couple years later, I was like, I'm never going to read any of these. And I just don't want to have books cluttering anymore. I have a very small bookshelf. I would like to invest in getting a big one, but I'm not sure because I just have commitment issues. Even though I need a bigger one, I just know if I'm going to move, I don't want to have to go through all of that. So I don't know, but I just don't buy books a lot. However, in the last year, because I had a job and it was financially stable enough to be able to buy books, I actually have bought a lot of them. And I don't know if I've read all of them. I could probably check my reading stats, but maybe I'll do that in another episode. Anyway, I'm here to talk about my reading goals and reading challenges. So let's get into the reading challenges. And I am going to be doing the Buzzwordathon, the PopSugar challenge, and also the Read Harder challenge by Book Riot. I'm not going to try and complete all of them because some of the prompts I just don't like, but I like challenges and I like adding things. So over the last couple of days, I ended up going on the story graph and just building a TBR. So that's what I'm going to do in this episode. And this is inspired by Bear at Etu Brody because they did a video just talking about their reading plans for the Buzzwordathon, going over every prompt and talking about what books they want to read. So I'm going to be doing that, so let's get into it. I also kind of want to show you all of the books on my floor. Even though, I don't know, do I want to do that? I don't know. So, since I decided on doing some shelf reduction this year, I am going to try and apply those to the reading challenges. Because I feel like if I can fit them to a prompt, then I'll actually read them. But who knows? That could go out the window in a couple months. Who knows? With Patreon, I'm also doing a book club called the Just Paperback Pals Rainbow Book Club, where we're going to read the rainbow. So we're going to read bi-monthly, and It'll be a queer book. So we're starting in February with Red. I'll give some choices and I'm super excited. So you can become a patron for only $1. The link is in my show notes and in the description on my YouTube channel. And I'm super excited for that. Now, let's get on to the reading challenges. Let me know if you're doing any reading challenges. I would love to know. If you're on YouTube, let me know in the comments. And I don't know how you could do it if you're on audio. You might just have to go to the YouTube, or you could just DM me. Okay, let's get to the first. I guess I'll just do Buzzwordathon because that is what I talked about more. Now you can see it actually works. What I love about the story graph is their reading challenge feature. It's my favorite thing ever. And I saw that they have a buddy read feature, which I might implement into the book club. I'm gonna see if it works. Maybe I'll start it with my one friend who we're doing a buddy read together and see if it works. And I should actually tell her. So let me do that right now before I forget. This podcast is basically going to be if I can actually keep a train of thought, because I can't do that very often. Anyway. Okay. Hold on. Buzzwordathon. So, Buzzwordathon is a readathon. No, it's not. Well, I mean, it kind of is, but it started as a readathon, but it is now a yearly challenge created by Books and Lala, and basically it is based on a word. So, like a buzzword that you see in titles of books. So, let's get into it. If my thing would load. The one thing about the Storygraph app and website is that it kind of takes forever, but they're doing their best, and it's also New Year's Day, so I bet it's way slower because of that. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. For January, the buzzwords are the 5 W's: who, where, what, when, why, or how. So I have actually a lot of books on my physical TBR that apply to that prompt. First, the priority read is Who's That Girl by Blair Thornborough. I actually went to see this author at my local Barnes & Noble. It actually moved, so it's not in the same space anymore, but I got this signed by her. Yes, it is indeed signed by her, and all I know about it is it's about a girl who joins a GSA, so it does have some LGBTQ plus themes, and I really want to read it, so this is a part of my January TBR. I also have When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, which I started back in maybe November, I don't know, sometime in the second half of the year, and I didn't get around to finishing it. Let's see how much I got into it. Well, not much. 28 pages. So hopefully I can finish this, because it's a read that I wanted to finish in 2021 and I didn't. I also have When We Believed in Mermaids. I got this as a gift one year for Christmas, and I have no idea what it's about. Okay. Her sister has been dead for 15 years when she sees her on the TV news. Ooh, that sounds good. So maybe I will read this. A story of childhood and innocence lost, and the long hidden secrets, lies, and betrayals two sisters must face in order to make themselves whole as adults. Ooh, this might actually apply to one of the PopSugar challenges. Or prompts, not challenges. It's a challenge. It has prompts. Okay. I also have When We Collided by Emery Lord, and I have the ebook, but I did a Secret Santa once. It was a bookish one, and someone gave me their arc of When We Collided by Emery Lord. It has bipolar rep, which is on voices, so I'm excited to hopefully get around to this, but I don't know if that's going to happen this month. I also want to finish all of the Pocket Change Collective books that I actually own from Penguin Teens, so I could also use This Is What I Know About Art by Kimberly Drew, and I actually have the audiobook from my library, so I definitely want to get around to this. So this is definitely a priority. So we have like 3 books for the Buzzwordathon for January. Next, I think I'm just going to go over like 1 book for each because this might get a little bit long. But next is for February, and this is a pronoun in the title. And I have How We Did It by Carl Subban. I want to implement more NHL reading into my life and my content, so this is about Carl Subban. Most of his kids, I believe, have made it to the NHL. The one I know of is PK. He's on the New Jersey Devils right now, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I think he is still on that team. And he also has a brother who's in the NHL, but I can't remember his name right now. But that is not a book I physically own, just one I want to read. So I just got my TBR cart right here. So here we have on top of my TBR cart my TBR. We have Made You Up by Francesca Zappia. I've had this forever, so this would also maybe count as a book that's been on my TBR for the longest. And oh, I'm also doing a challenge where I put all of my subscribers' prompts they gave me for my advent calendar video. In December, I had an advent calendar control my TBR. If you've never been on my YouTube channel before, I make creative content like that where I have things pick my TBR, or I have my friends put me in a scavenger hunt and go places, or I had Instagram control my day once. Like, I do things like that. So in December, I get an advent calendar, you give me prompts, and I put your prompts into an advent calendar. A number generator determines what door I open, and I have to read a book before I open another door. So I got sick and I only read 2 books and I was sad. So I decided to get all of the prompts and put them into a little tea canister, and I am going to try and read your prompts throughout the year. And so I'm also doing that as a challenge. It's gonna be a challenging year. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we have Made You Up by Francesca Zappia, which I've had forever, and I believe it has representation for schizophrenia. And I believe one of the other challenges I'm doing, it might be PopSugar, it could be the Read Harder challenge by Book Riot, but one of those is a book that's been on your TBR the longest, and that one has been on my TBR very long. I also have All Eyes on Her by L.E. Flynn, which I believe is a thriller, and I know I said that I'm only going to say 1 book, but I am a liar. Oh, one of my books just fell right off of my card, so isn't that just a fun time? If you saw my scavenger hunt video where I had my subscribers or Instagram followers give me a prompt and I did a scavenger hunt on my bookshelves, we regret to inform you An Overachiever's Guide to College Rejection by Ariel Kaplan is another book that fits that prompt for pronouns. And I think that might be it for my physical TBR on pronouns. And I promise I will only do 1 book for each after this. Next is location. If you're on YouTube, here is what I have. But for like audio listeners, I feel like I should just say all of them because accessibility. But we have Real Queer America, Love is an Ex-Country, Small Town Hearts, and Star World. All are locations. Then for April, the buzzword is little or big. And I had trouble with that one because I actually don't have anything on my physical TBR. So I ended up picking A Little Hope by Ethan Joella. And this I read is about a town in Connecticut. So that's fun. And the story graph says it's literary fiction. Next is a book with direction in the title for May, and I have picked a perfect one for this, but I think it's somewhere in the stacks behind me. Now, this podcast is me unfiltered, so this could either be something people really enjoy or actually really hate. And you know what? That's fine. But I have Down and Across. It was actually right in front of me. And I thought this was genius for this prompt for direction. Down and Across by Arvin Amati, and I believe it is about crossword. And it sounds fun. And I also no. We're not doing that. June is All, a book with all in the title, and I pre-ordered It's All in How You Fall by Sarah Henning. I talked about it in my video where I talk about the sports book releases coming out in 2022. So you can go and watch that video, but this is about gymnastics, but it's also about a guy named Alex who helps this girl who gets hurt and can't do gymnastics anymore, and he just exposes her to like every sport and tries to get like a new sport for her to like, and I love that so much. And also Ophelia After All is coming out by Raquel Marie, aka Blonde with a Book. I'm so excited. I also have that pre-ordered. Next is a book-related word in the title, and I have The Address Book by Deidre Mask. And it is what street addresses reveal about identity, race, wealth, and power. And I actually have an e-copy of it. I think it was like a Kindle deal or something like that. A book with an item or object in the title. I have a nonfiction, and it is a piece of cake. It's a biography, but I could also use this. Are We All Lemmings and Snowflakes? Because snowflake is an object or an item, and it is by Holly Bourne. Oh my god, I cannot see how long I've been recording for. Another one for next for September is Light or Dark in the title, and this is by month, but you can also just do whatever. It's not like a mandatory like obligation kind of thing where you have to stick to the rules. The only thing is really just to read the buzzword. So yeah. Anyway, this one I also had trouble with because like I have a couple, but I'm not gonna say what they are, but I actually didn't have anything on my physical TBR for that. And we're going with physical TBR. And last, no, for some reason my app just is only stopping on October. So a book with an animal or creature in the title. And I don't have a physical TBR book for this. That is definitely subject to change because you never know what books I'm going to pick up. Okay, November is a book with ing, and that is another thing that I don't own, but I have the ARC, so like an e-copy of the ARC. So this is Breathing Underwater by Sarah Allen, which I meant to read last year. I started it. Oh my god, my stupid camera always just turns off. I read this. No, I didn't. I started this book last year in 2021 for the Buzzwordathon, and I never ended up getting to finish it. And that is the story on that. And for the last prompt of Buzzwordathon, it is a book with a number in the title for December. And I have 1,500 Miles from the Sun. I probably won't be reading this in December, but it's definitely one that I want to read anyway. And this is by Johnny Garza Villa. I've heard nothing but good things about this. I actually ended up starting it, and I got 15 pages. That's how my reading was in 2021. I had like a couple months where I just was in a reading slump. Now let's pause to see how long I have been talking for. Because I don't know if we're gonna have time. Okay, so, oh wait, oh my god, I'm so dumb. It says it in like a big, larger number. It's fine. This is the first episode, trial and error. Am I right? Anyway, let's now run through the other ones, because, yes, this is only supposed to be 45 minutes, but it looks like this is going to be longer. And I want to get it up tomorrow. Anyway, PopSugar, let's just go through it. I guess I'll just say the prompts and talk a little bit about some of the books I want to read. So, as I'm waiting for the Storycraft app to load, this is a good time for you to comment if you're on YouTube and tell me what one of your reading goals of the year is. Are you doing what I'm doing? Let me know. And now we're on to the PopSugar challenge. I will link all of the challenges down below if you want to just look at these. But for PopSugar, we have a book published in 2022, and for that, I'm going to do Icebreaker by A.L. Graziadei, a book set on a plane, train, or cruise ship. I actually have The Girl on the Train. I bought it for a video, and that is one of the prompts for my TBR jar, which is to read a book that was a part of a failed video or something like that, and that works. Yeah. A book set or about a non-patriarchal society. I have Outlawed by Anna North. A book with a tiger on the cover or tiger in the title. I wanted to go with When You Trap a Tiger by Tay Keller because I saw someone on my Instagram recommend it and I want to read it. A sapphic book, one I own, is Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating. A book by a Latinx author. I have The Grief Keeper or Lost in the Neverwoods. A book with onomatopoeia in the title. That was such a hard one. I have Tweet Cute just as a placer, but I don't think I'm actually going to go with that one. I might, but we'll see what happens. A book with a protagonist who uses a mobility aid. I stopped because I hear things in the distance outside, and I wasn't sure if it's my loud computer or what, but I think a dog is barking. But a book with a protagonist who uses a mobility aid is Always on You by Chloe Lisi. This has a character who uses a cane, and it has hockey in it. I recently read The Mistletoe Motive for a video, and I really enjoyed it so much, so I want to read more of her books. A book about found family is a book I own, and that is The Black Veins by Aisha Monet. An Anisfield Wolf Book Award winner I have not chosen yet because I don't think I'm going to do that prompt, just because, like I said, we're trying to get the TBR down. And gotta wait for this freaking app to load because it's taking forever. And I'm on good Wi-Fi, so... Okay. A book talk recommendation. I do want to see if there's anything on my physical TBR. Oh, With the Fire and High could work, because I actually have a clip of someone recommending that, because I was going to do a part 2 of my TikTok books video, where I, read books that were recommended to me on TikTok. A book about the afterlife, Alatsue by Darcy Little Badger. A book set in the 1980s, We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Berry. A book with Coldtree on the cover or in the title. A Faux Love Story has that, but that's also just a placeholder, so I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to read that. I would like to because I've heard it's cute. A book by a Pacific Islander. I have Ronnie Patel in Full Effect. and I can't see the author. Oh, it's by Sonia Patel. Cool. And I believe she's a Hawaiian author. A book about witches. I have a bunch. Specifically The Witch King or Payback's a Witch. A book becoming a film or TV series in 2022. I don't have that because I just don't really watch film or TV a lot. I really just watch YouTube. That's my entertainment. Speaking of, I want to watch Queer Eye. So maybe after I edit this and get it up, I will do that. A romance novel by a BIPOC author is The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. I hope I can read more of her in 2022 because I love her so much. I read Party of Two and I loved it so much. Who would have thought that I would get into romance? I love it. I love it so much. Oh my god, I just realized I'm gonna have more books on my floor. A book that takes place during your favorite season. I like fall and spring, and I don't know what book I'm going to pick for that yet. Another one that I can't pick, but I really love, is a book whose title begins with the last letter of your previous read. So I might have to do that at some point. A book about a band or a musical. I have an owned book, which is The Brightsiders by Jen Wilde, but I also want to read Battle of the Bands. It's an anthology. Also, It Goes Like This by Mel Moreland. I've heard is really good. A book with a character on the A spectrum. I really want to read Summer Bird Blue or Loveless. A book with a recipe in it with The Fire on High, which I own. A book you can read in one sitting. I'm just going to pick a comic or something for that. A book about a secret. Or I could use any of the children's books that I read. I might have a full episode on me talking about my job. But I actually talk a little bit about it on my channel in a Q&A that I did for my 12 days of Vlogmas. I did the 7 days of Vlogmas because I got sick and I couldn't do the rest of it. A book about a secret. I have All Your Twisted Secrets. That was recommended to me by my friend Sarah. A book with a misleading title. My Heart is a Chainsaw I might use. I saw that, but also I have an audiobook for How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House by Sherry Jones. Hugo Award winner is The Empress of Salt and Fortune, a book set during a holiday. I have an anthology, which is Love All Year 2021, and I believe it is all LGBTQ plus authors. A different book by an author you read in 2021. I've decided on the sequel to Hank Green's book. What's it called? An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor is what I chose for that because I want to read the sequel. Spoiler alert, but that book's going in my top 10 of the year, which I have to probably film tomorrow. A book with the name of a board game in the title. I thought that was so fun. And I decided on Sorry because that was the easiest one I could find. I might swap it, but I have My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman. He's one of my favorite authors, and I've only read Beartown, Beartown 1 and 2. So I want to read more of him because I am a fake fan. A book featuring a man-made disaster I don't think I'm going to do. A book with a quote from your favorite author on the cover or its Amazon page. And I ended up going with Happily Ever Afters. I own it. It's in this pile behind me. It's actually right here. I have Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant, and on the cover we have Brandy Colbert. I love her. She's awesome. She's one of my favorites, and she says, sweet, smart, and utterly charming. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to get to the Read Harder challenge because I'm almost into an hour of this, so maybe I'll talk about it in next week's episode. But let's just see all the books that I actually have. A book about gender identity. I have Yes, You Are Trans Enough by Mia Violet, and I really want to read that, but I also have Future Feeling by Joss Lake, which is a book I literally talked about all last year and never read. I apologize if you can hear my laptop in the background. It is so loud, the fan that I have. I'm just gonna get a new laptop soon. And I know it probably doesn't bother people, but it bothers me because I hear it all the time. So, I didn't have time for the Read Harder challenge because I've literally been talking for almost an hour now, but this proves that I can talk for that long. So, I had fun telling you about my yearly goals for 2022. Let me know in the comments what your yearly goal is going to be, if you're doing a number challenge or if you're sticking to the quality over quantity like me. Next week, I will be doing the 2021 Bookish Survey, so I'll be talking all about that and more. If you have any situation that you want my advice on, you can send it to readerramblespodcast at gmail.com, and I will be starting that next week. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the Reader Rambles podcast. I am so excited, and I will see you next week. Bye.